Hello, my dear students. This is Hina Kausar, and welcome back to the class. In the previous session, we were discussing about the applications of Gauss theorem, right? We had followed four important steps, and easily we determined what is the electric field intensity using the Gauss law. Let's just recall those four important steps. Very first step is to consider a Gaussian surface, right? So what we should make sure when we are considering a Gaussian surface, that it should be a closed surface and electric field intensity should be symmetrical. Angle between the electric field and the area vector should be symmetrical, and also we can consider either a single Gaussian surface or the combination of surfaces, right? And that is the first step to consider a Gaussian surface. Second step is considering the Gauss law, Gauss theorem na consider ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ first we have to calculate the electric flux, that is nothing but the closed integral of vector E dot ds. And the third step is to calculate the total charge which is present inside the Gaussian surface or which is enclosed within the Gaussian surface. After calculating the charge, the fourth step is to put all the values in the Gauss law and hence calculating the electric field, right? So using these four simple steps, what we had done, we had determined the electric field intensity due to a infinitely long straight charged wire, right? We assumed a Gaussian surface which was of cylindrical shape. It is actually a combination of two flat spherical discs and a curved surface, right? So we followed the steps what we had discussed. First step we considered the Gaussian surface. Second step is to calculate the total flux, and third step calculating the total charge, and finally in the fourth step we substituted all the values and hence calculated the electric field intensity as E is equals to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught 2 lambda divided by R, where 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught, as you know, it's the force constant. Lambda is the linear charge density, and add up the distance between the charge, between the center of the charge to the surface where we are calculating this electric field, right? And in vector form, if we write that the electric field equation, we will get vector E is equals to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught 2 lambda divided by R into R cap, where R cap represents it's the unit vector which gives the direction of this electric field. And in this case, when we are considering an infinite long length of charged wire, electric field intensity direction will be radially outward. If we are considering the charged wire as positive charged wire, then the electric field intensity will be radially outward. If it is a negative charged wire, then the electric field intensity direction will be towards radially inward direction. Okay, so this is about the previous derivation what we had done in the last session. So following the same four steps, let us calculate the electric field intensity due to an infinitely long thin charged plane sheet. Okay, so this is our second application. Using the Gauss law, now what we are doing, we are calculating the electric field intensity due to an infinitely long as well as thin charged plane sheet. Okay, ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಥಿನ್ ಶೀಟ್ ನ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಶೀಟ್ ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ, ಈ ಥಿನ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಇಂದ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. So the very first thing is, what we need to do is, step 1 is to consider a Gaussian surface. So what I'll do, I'll consider a Gaussian surface which is of cylindrical shape. Okay, Gaussian surface need not to be a particular type of shape. Okay, you can imagine any sort of surface, but the thing is, it should satisfy certain conditions. What are those conditions? Very first thing is, it should be a closed surface. So cylindrical shape, since it's a closed surface, I'm considering it. And what we should make sure, electric field intensity should be symmetrical. We will make sure that thing. Then the theta angle between the electric field and area vectors should be same. That we will make sure. And the last thing is, it can be a combination of surfaces. Here a cylindrical shape is also a combination of surfaces. How? A cylindrical shape will have two flat surfaces, one over here in the right side, one over here in the left side, and one curved surface. So two flat surfaces plus one curved surface. So it can be a combination of surfaces. So therefore I have considered here a Gaussian surface which is a cylindrical shape. Now the next thing is, what is the second step? In the second step, we should calculate the total electric flux. To calculate the total electric flux, we should know what is the electric field intensity which is passing through the surfaces, right? So since it has three different surfaces, so we should calculate the electric flux which is linked with these three surfaces, and then when we sum it up, we will get the total electric flux due to this complete closed surface. So let us imagine that the radius of the cylindrical shape is small r and it is of length L, and we know that it is having three different surfaces, surface A, surface B, and as well as surface C. Now considering the Gauss law, according to Gauss law, what it says, the total electric flux for a closed surface in free space is equals to Q by epsilon naught. That is 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge which is enclosed within the surface. So in the left hand side we have the total electric flux. So in the second step we are supposed to calculate this total electric flux. So the total closed surface of closed integral of vector E dot ds should be equal to the electric flux due to surface A, the electric flux due to surface B, plus the electric flux due to surface C. If you calculate the electric flux which is at the surface A, if we consider a small surface area over this surface A, right? So if we draw the normal to that surface area, that normal will represent the direction of that area, which is represented here by vector ds. And what about the electric field intensity at this surface? It will be in the outward direction. Why? Because this thin sheet, this thin charged plane sheet is actually positively charged. That is what we have assumed. So therefore, electric field intensity will be acting in outward direction. So the normal which is drawn to the area and the electric field intensity both are acting in the same direction, right? Which means angle between them is equals to 0. Similarly, if you consider the other surface, that is the other flat surface of the cylinder, let us assume that it has D, right? In that surface, if you consider a small area over here, right? The normal which is drawn to that surface gives the direction of that area, that is represented by vector ds. And what about the electric field intensity? Obviously, here also it will be in outward direction, because since this charge sheet is a positively charged sheet. So therefore, electric field intensity and the area vector both are acting in the same line. Therefore, theta is equals to 0 degree at surface B. Similarly, if you consider this curved surface, ಈ curved surface ಅಲ್ಲಿ small area na consider ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, here I have assumed it as C. So the area vector will be obviously the normal drawn to that area, which is represented by vector ds here, and the electric field intensity direction will be at right angles to that area vector. Why? Because it is positively charged, so therefore electric field intensity will be acting in outward direction. So therefore the angle between the area vector and the electric field intensity in this case, in the curved surface, it will be is equals to 90 degree. Therefore, electric flux due to surface A can be considered as vector E dot ds, right? Plus electric flux across this surface B can be represented as integral of vector E dot ds at surface B plus the electric flux at surface C for the curved surface can be taken as vector E dot ds. If we consider the magnitudes of this electric flux, further the equation can be written as E ds cos theta. Here we know angle theta is 0 degree at surface A, therefore I have mentioned it as cos 0, plus at the surface B, here also we know the theta angle is 0 degree, therefore magnitude we can write it as E ds cos 0, plus at this surface angle is 90 degree. Angle between the area vector and the electric field is 90 degree, therefore we should write it as cos 90 degree. Since we know cos 0 value is 1, therefore cos 0, 1 multiplied by E into ds is E ds. Similarly, cos 0 is nothing but 1, therefore anything multiplied by 1 is E ds. But cos 90 degree is 0, therefore anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So this term at the surface C, this electric flux at surface C will become 0. Since this term becomes 0, to get the total flux, we just need to add these two terms. So when we add these two terms, integral of E ds plus integral of E ds, it gives us 2E into integral of ds. Why? Because since electric field is constant here, so we will remove it out of the integral and we will integrate only the small surfaces. When we integrate the small surface, since the flat surface is a circular surface, therefore that area will be equal to pi r square. So integral of ds will be pi r square. So the total electric flux becomes 2E into pi r square. So this is our second step. In the second step, we have calculated the total electric flux due to this complete Gaussian surface. Now in the third step, what we have to do, we should calculate the total charge which is present in the right hand side of the Gauss law, right? Gauss law right hand side alli irtakkanta total charge which is enclosed inside the Gaussian surface, right? So that we have to calculate. If we calculate that total charge, it will be equal to sigma into pi r square, where sigma is surface charge density. If you remember in the previous session, we had discussed about surface charge density. What is surface charge density? It is the charge per unit area, right? So here area we have considered it as a ds. When we integrated, it becomes pi r square, right? Sigma is the surface charge density term. So instead of writing integral of sigma into ds, we will integrate this ds and substitute the value as sigma into pi r square. So Q becomes sigma into pi r square. So since we have calculated the total charge for that surface area, now in the fourth step what we need to do, we have to substitute all the values, the electric flux and as well as the total charge in the Gauss law and hence calculate the electric field intensity, right? When we substitute the values, in the left hand side we had the electric flux, so instead of electric flux we will substitute it as 2E into pi r square is equals to, in the right hand side we had the total charge, so Q over epsilon naught. Instead of Q we will substitute it as sigma into pi r square over epsilon naught. Since we have to calculate E, we will keep this E term in the left hand side and send this 2 pi r square to the right hand side. So pi r square and pi r square in the numerator and denominator gets cancelled. So remaining terms are sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught. So this is the electric field intensity which is due to infinitely long thin charge plane sheet, where sigma represents what? Sigma is the surface charge density, right? In vector form, if we represent this equation, it can be written as vector E is equals to sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught into n cap. N cap represents what? It's the unit vector which will give you the direction of electric field intensity. So what about the direction of the electric field intensity in this case? The direction will be normal to the plane and away from the positive charge distribution. If you assume that thin plane sheet is made up of positive charges, then the electric field intensity will be away from that charge sheet. That is, if you draw normal to that plane sheet, so that normal will represent the electric field intensity. But in case if it was a negatively charged plane sheet, then the normal which is drawn to that plane, but the direction will be in inward direction towards the plane sheet. Okay, opposite directionally. So that is about the direction of electric field intensity in case of thin charged plane sheet. Few more important points you should remember relating to this derivation, that is, here also the electric field intensity is independent of the Gaussian surface what we have constructed. Okay, size whatever may be the size of the Gaussian surface, that doesn't matter, and it neither depends on the distance of point of consideration and nor the radius of the cylindrical surface. You can see in this equation there is no term of r or the distance. Radius of cylindrical surface ಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ electric field intensity depend ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ distance of point of consideration ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ electric field consider ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಆ distance ಕೂಡ ಈ equation ಅಲ್ಲಿ mention ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, which means this electric field intensity is independent of those terms. Okay, in this case when we are assuming the thin charged plane sheet, that you should remember. And also suppose if in case in the consideration we have assumed it as a thin charged plane sheet. Instead of thin, if the plane sheet is thick plane sheet, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದಪ್ಪ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ sheet charged sheet ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ electric field intensity vary ಆಗತ್ತಾ? Then the answer is yes, it will vary. Why? Because thick charged sheet consider ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಎರಡು surface ಮೇಲೆ charges accumulate ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, right? So the charge which is enclosed within the Gaussian surface, that will be twice as before. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾವು Gaussian surface ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಎನ್ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವು, ಇವಾಗ ಎರಡು ಸರ್ಫೇಸಸ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎರಡು ಕಡೆ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ Gaussian surface ಒಳಗಡೆ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಎನ್ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗೋದು ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, that will be doubled, right? So therefore field ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, that will also be doubled. If the charge is doubled, then obviously electric field will also get doubled. Then this equation will become E is equals to sigma over epsilon naught, because 2 times andre enagutte, E will be equal to 2 into sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught. 2 will get cancelled, therefore remaining equation will be E is equals to sigma by epsilon naught. So this is the equation which we will use if we are assuming that the charged plane sheet is thick plane sheet. Okay, thin plane sheet ಅಂದಾಗ ಇದೇ equation ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, that is E is equals to sigma over 2 epsilon naught. Okay, so let's have a quick review over the complete derivation. So first step what we did, we considered a infinitely long thin charged plane sheet. In the first step we consider a Gaussian surface which is of cylindrical shape, and consider the Gauss law. According to Gauss law, electric flux, total electric flux is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed within the Gaussian surface. So surface integral of vector E dot ds is equal to q divided by epsilon naught, that is the Gauss law. In the second step, we should calculate the left hand side of the Gauss law, that is the total electric flux. When we calculated it, we found it as 2E into pi r square. In the third step, we have to calculate the total charge which is enclosed within the Gaussian surface in the right hand side of the Gauss law. So when we calculated the total charge, we found that it is sigma into pi r square, where sigma is surface charge density and pi r square is the surface area, right? So substituting this total charge and the total electric flux in the fourth step ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಎರಡು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು Gauss law ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಈ Gauss law ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎರಡು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, in place of electric flux we should substitute 2E into pi r square. In place of q over epsilon naught we should substitute sigma pi r square by epsilon naught. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ನ ರೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವಾಗ ನ್ಯೂಮರೇಟರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಡಿನೋಮಿನೇಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತ ಪೈ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And remaining terms in the equation is E is equals to sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught. So this is the equation for magnitude of the electric field intensity for a thin charged plane sheet which is infinitely long. Right? Adana vector form al baradre en barutte, vector E is equals to sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught into n cap, where n cap is the unit vector which gives you the direction of electric field intensity. So ಈ ಡೆರಿವೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಶೀಟ್ ನ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಡ್ರಾನ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಶೀಟ್ and it will be acting away from the sheet because it is positively charged. ಅದೇ ಆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಶೀಟ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಡ್ರಾನ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಬಟ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ಶೀಟ್ ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು. Okay, so that is about the direction. And if you observe this equation, there is no term of the distance between the electric field between the surface point of consideration and the charge sheet. ಅದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಯಾವುದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ರೇಡಿಯಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸಿಲಿಂಡ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ electric field intensity is independent of those terms. It is not depending upon the distance of point of consideration, or neither it is depending upon the radius of the cylindrical surface. Okay. And one more thing what you should remember is, if instead of using a thin sheet, if you assume it as a thick sheet, then what happens? It will get two surfaces. Thick agidre sheet enagirutte, charges it will be on both the surfaces. ಒಂದು ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್, ಎರಡು ಸರ್ಫೇಸಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಗಾಸಿಯನ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎನ್ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡಬಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಡಬಲ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಫ್ ದ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಡೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ is doubled, then what about electric field intensity? That will also get doubled, right? So when we substitute that value here, we get the formula as E is equals to sigma divided by epsilon naught. So this will be the formula if you are considering the sheet as a thick plain sheet which is infinitely long. So this is about today's session. In the next session we will again use the same 4 steps what we have discussed so far, and we will determine the electric field intensity considering one more application, that is a spherical shell, charged spherical shell na consider ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರಿಂದ electric field intensity determine ಮಾಡೋಣ using Gauss law. Okay, till then take care.